Hello everyone, welcome back to Behind the Scenes with Bayut and dubizzle. This time, we've got a very interesting department to talk about, and that's operations. You would probably be familiar with operations in the warehouse, of moving items from one place to another. But being a digital company, how does operations work? We don't have any product to move around. So what are the workings, the ins and the outs? We are joined by our Director of Operations, Sushant, Kaistha, and our Head of Operations, Omer Khan. Let's get to it. Sushant and Omer, thanks a lot for joining us today. Just talking about operations, the image that everybody has is warehouses and moving items from one place to another. Since Bayut and dubizzle is very digital, what does operations look like in a digital company?
In a digital company, the operations department is basically responsible for the end-to-end customer experience and the whole service lifecycle. So the very essence of an operations department is similar to any other industry or segment, right? It's just we use different tools. So instead of a forklift, pallet movers, we will have laptops, desktops with different softwares and applications to perform the core functions and activities of the business. So that's the only difference in a digital company and a traditional business operations department.
How does it look like in a day-to-day scenario?
First of all, there is no typical or a boring day in any operations department. So that's one thing I'm very certain of. Every day brings its own challenges, and in order to resolve those challenges, we have a morning huddle where we all discuss the daily activities, plan ahead for the day, inform and brief each other of any pressing issues which the clients are facing or the companies are facing. And that's how we go about it.
Would you say that there's a pivotal point in the operations team specifically that you're really proud of?
Every day, Charles. There's not just one thing that happens and you feel proud of it. I've not been here too long. I've been with the company for a couple of years. And when I joined, it was just around the time of the merger. A handful of guys just working on the property vertical and trying to work on building customer and client support. And today we have, the team has grown exponentially, and we have seamlessly tried to manage operations of two different entities under the same umbrella and not let the client face that impact. So I guess, every day that a client is satisfied or an internal stakeholder is happy with our resolution or our attempts to solve a problem is a proud moment.
I think operations is a very invisible kind of a team within the company. And everything is seamless between teams moving forward and backwards.
Absolutely.
And as long as you don't see them, everything's good.
You want to say exactly what we spoke about?
No, let's not go there.
All right.
I see, from the both of you and from a lot of the people in operations, you do a lot of different things. So not in terms of volume, but in terms of every single thing that you guys look at, that you juggle and you multitask. So did you know that you'll always end up in operations? And I think probably we can start with Sushant.
I can talk about myself. I don't think I ever knew I was going to work in operations. I've had a very different career path. I studied economics, I worked in finance, and I thought that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then more recently, I was given the chance to be a GM in a few high growth tech companies. And as part of that role, I realized the importance of sales from a revenue angle and operations from a cost angle. So I've always been very closely involved with both those departments. And I guess that is the journey that I've taken, which has given me a lot of understanding of the operations you refer to when you say warehouses and forklifts and pallets and everything. Yeah, I've worked in that world as well. And so I wouldn't think this is something I always knew I was going to do.
And I know for a fact, Omer has also had a very interesting early career to operations.
Well, yes, I started as an accountant. And I think after the first few months, I realized it's not my cup of tea. So that's when I started looking into other departments and exploring other fields where I can fit myself in. And I think operations was the only one which I found most exciting. And the only reason I think which Sushant joined operation was it's a challenge every day. You don't get bored, right?
Is there something like for Sushant, for example, like that you do in order to like take your mind off, everything else that you might be thinking about? That thing that relaxes you and you just like, okay, this I'm going to do for the next hour.
When I try to do things that help me relax, I do that so that I can focus a lot more on operations and the things that I do here. Because I feel that in the day-to-day, you get so engrossed into just managing that, you don't get a chance to zoom out and think ahead and think on the bigger picture. And the role and responsibility the responsibilities my current role has or brings requires me to think about that, requires me to preempt what's going to happen next and prepare for that. So a lot of the things that I try and do in my downtime is to clear my mind so that I can focus on what's next.
Right.
And most of those things revolve around, I enjoy cooking a lot. That's something that helps me do that. And even cleaning, for whatever reason. It's just, these are a couple of very mundane household chores that really help me zoom out and focus on what's next.
So are you more of a hobbyist in terms of cooking, or do you have like specific appliances and so on?
But yeah, it's more because of I'm very curious about the history of food, science behind it,
Gastronomy.
Yeah, how different emulsions work and things work, and I want to try and make things from scratch. So I unfortunately don't have enough time to pursue this, but if there was ever a chance, if I ever could get some time off, that's what I would do.
All right, fair enough. And Omer?
Well, like Sushant, I enjoy cooking as well.
Perfect.
All right.
So over the weekends, it's my cooking days.
We're having a cook-off.
Oh yes, we will. To be very honest, since I started living very independently at a very early stage, and as all Desis know, we all love food, and without food we can't live. So I started cooking at a very early age, and thankfully my mother was there to guide me, and that's how I started cooking.
But I just realized what the sad thing is, the reason we probably like cooking is because there's so much operations involved.
I was thinking of that.
You're going through
The number of ingredients.
Oh my God. We need to get new hobbies.
But Omer, is there like a particular thing that you've always wanted to do? Like, my professor calls this the big, hairy, audacious goal. It could be anything. Like, do you have anything like that in mind?
Well, I want to be a pilot someday, to be very honest. Yeah.
Oh,
I
nice.
love flying, and that's why one thing I want to do someday.
That's great.
Awesome.
It is.
I'm not going to answer after that. It's good enough. I want him to be a pilot someday. That's my goal as well now.
Come on, Sushant.
Yeah, with the day-to-day, solve a problem or multiple problems and use everything that I've learned and try and build something sustainable and create that value, not just for me, but for everyone around me.
Well, this has been fun, guys.
Alright.
Thanks a lot for joining us today. And I want to say that I hope to get to do this again. But yeah, thanks a lot. How do you guys feel?
This was very nice. Can we have all our meetings like this?
In front of the camera.
Absolutely.
No, thank you for having us and introducing the operations department to everyone.
Thanks everyone for joining us this time. We hope you learned a lot about operations, and I can't wait to see you next time.